What is up? What is up, YouTube Hexicans? So today I want to talk a little bit about, is it day 21, day 22? I think it's day 22 or day 21, who knows? Like time really flies. But today I want to talk about HEX being the new Twin Towers. Obviously I talk about the World Trade Center. And we're coming up to 19 years. We're coming up to 19 years since the 2001 event where those two World Trade Centers came down 19 years ago. And there's a lot of interesting stuff about that story, about how they kind of symbolized global trade and basically kind of what happened there was a lot of weird stuff going on with that event where I think it was around $3 trillion that got wiped out, which is pretty shady to be honest. And yeah, it kind of just symbolized like global trade, those kind of two twin towers. Okay, so what does that have to do with HEX? And why do I say this? Well, because I sort of feel like the stuff that they were doing in those large buildings, those two twin towers, the kind of global trade that they most likely were performing in those two towers. Now we're coming up 19 years later, and we have innovative new technology like Ethereum blockchain, where you can build smart contracts on top of it that can generate value faster than anything else in human history, and that you can create a global currency, and that you can print trustless interest to stakers like HEX is doing, kind of creating a wealth generator machine that you never seen before in human history, that has the potential to move into $1 trillion market caps. Something that Bitcoin never came up to. Bitcoin never reached trillions of dollars in market cap. You may say it will do it one day. I would be skeptical, because when you look at the community, when you look at that it's down 48% since 2017, it doesn't look like Bitcoin can do it. But HEX maybe can do it, because it's a little bit below $1 billion market cap at the moment and hasn't even existed for a year. Go and look how many years it took for Bitcoin to get up to $1 billion market cap. Go and look at that. It was not the first year, okay? It was not the first year. So you can see that HEX is appreciating faster. It seems to appreciate faster than Bitcoin. It seems to appreciate faster than Ethereum when I do the math. And when I look at the same amount of days there in the beginning, it seems to be performing way faster and way better, because it's designed to be a store of value from the start, which was something that Bitcoin never from the start was invented for. But this smart contract is designed for that intent from the start. Okay? Bitcoin in many ways was designed for utility, for using it for trade, peer-to-peer digital cash. Now that story failed. That story failed. So in those two twin towers, talking about the old twin towers, now they're building some new stuff. I think they call Freedom Tower or something like that. And then they keep on building stuff on those places. But the old two twin towers, I think it was called the South Tower and the North Tower, if you had around $3 trillion lost over there, probably it was probably they stored a lot of paper, a lot of data in those two buildings. So it was like a physical It was like a reputation of a global trade and store of value in those buildings. Okay. Now, 19 years later, we can generate way more wealth in a smaller form factor. We need less humans. We need less. We need less overhead. We just need. We need a couple of things, but we don't need two large buildings. But we can do the same. We can. You can kind of generate so much wealth in such a smaller form factor that people eventually can have a personal experience of it in their hand with the smartphones that came 10 years ago, and now smartphones are extremely capable, and now you can experience a smart contract that generates wealth, and you can look at it on your smartphone. This was something that they almost probably couldn't even imagine around 2001. They needed two large buildings, and they stored a lot of paper, a lot of data. There was a lot of people that had to work, and in many ways, Uniswap is very interesting because, okay, those two towers, global trade in the physical world, the whole idea was, big buildings, many humans, very flashy, and now it's a smaller form factor. It's a smaller form factor, and it's over the internet, and it's innovating on the Bitcoin model, where we're still using a good security, underlying security on Ethereum blockchain, and those ETH miners are getting paid very well to keep the network secure, but we don't have those dumpers on the coin, that electricity cost that Bitcoiners, like, they're getting dumped, Bitcoin holders are getting dumped upon all the time. So yeah, I mean, I would say Hex is kind of like the new Twin Towers. It's like, yeah, it's it's store of value, but need less humans, need less paperwork, because we can do stuff virtually right now. Like, we can do stuff with a machine, and it's automatic. Like, Hex is finished, it's complete, no expectations, no promises, it's audited. Yeah, it's like everything's done already. With the World Trade Center and those two buildings, it wasn't like automated in a machine or a smart contract. You had to do way more stuff. You needed more humans, more papers, more hours, work time. Yeah, it was just like, you needed just more things. Okay, you needed, let's say, more activity. And now we're moving into this hold age, where almost the less you do, the better off you are. Seeing these traders, they're trying to outsmart a computer, and it seems like they're gonna fail, because computers are smarter. Okay, we had a computer that beat the best Go player. A computer beat the best Go player a couple of years ago, and soon they're gonna beat every player. If it is anything with computing, we should just let the computer do it. So just because money is becoming virtual, yeah, a computer can pay you, and it can do a way better job, because a computer just is sitting there and just going and going and going and going and going. Okay, so yeah, that is what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. That Hex kind of is the new Twin Towers. Hex is the new Twin Towers. That's how I see it. It is, and it's in a smaller form factor. Okay, and we're coming up to this end of the launch phase. Coming up to the end of the launch phase of Hex. So you had this whole year where a lot of coins are getting out, around 500 billion Hex. Then you have a big payday. But after that, 2021, 2022, 2023, you only have the inflation that is max if 100% of coins staked, 100% of hex coins staked, it's max 3.69%. And you can look at this. If you look at how much stakers are being paid right now, it is around per day it's around 38 million hex to all the stakers. And if you take how long time it would be to like double the supply at that rate, it would take around 27 years. 27 years. That's a long time. 27 years. That's a long time. So most of the hex coins are getting out, like the large lion's share of hex coins are only shared out during the launch phase, and then it's very, very slow. Very, very low inflation. Bitcoin had higher inflation 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. I think even 2018 and 2019. So we're speeding things up, okay? I think we're speeding things up, and yeah, that's a little bit just what I wanted to talk a little bit about. It's like this is the evolution of technology, by the way, that we can do more with less. We can do more with less. Like smartphones have come to a phase where they kind of peaked in many ways of like they kind of peaked in terms of like we have an amazing camera now, we have amazing processor, we have amazing screen. There's not really that much more innovation you can do on that. Like we already have amazing computer, amazing smartphones. So now it's really just all about automation and printing, and do it faster, you know. So at the moment, like 10-year hex stakers, they're getting like 36% API at the moment, and I think 5-year stakers they're getting around 25% API. That's like annual percentage yield, which is extremely high. And yeah, so the hex stakers are doing extremely well right now. That's the current data. Nobody knows how the future data is going to be. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about. HEX being the new Twin Towers. And usually, like when people like imagine the future, it usually doesn't play out that way. Maybe in 2001, maybe they imagine like, okay, what is going to be the Twin Towers of 2020? And they just imagine more towers, more bigger buildings, and we're just going to have more of these big buildings. But we don't. Now we have Uniswap. Okay, we have something on the internet that is just that's just working amazing, like decentralized, and it's just better. And like people probably imagine maybe in 2001 they imagine money would be the way money would be we're just gonna have more dollars, we're gonna have more paper money. But then it's like, no, we're just gonna do everything virtually with hex coins. So so people usually have this like linear thinking, and they are thinking like, okay, what we have right now, we're just gonna have more of that in the future. But sometimes the game kind of changes. The game kind of changes, you know. It's the same as like maybe Bitcoiners think like, yeah, they think linear, like it's just gonna be Bitcoin forever, and we're just gonna have more miners. Every home is gonna have a GPU miner in their home, and it's like, no, they're just gonna do a hex stake, and then they're just gonna do, when their stake is over, they're just gonna do an end stake, and it's just better. It's just so much better, man. And it's easier, by the way. It's like easier. So yeah, stuff is getting easier, and that's good for the user experience. Seems like we're gonna have some staking apps for Hex in the future. So the Hex.live creator Steph, it seems like he's working on a staker app for Android and iOS, and it looks like it's gonna have an amazing design. We also talked a little bit about it a couple of days ago, how we saw how MetaMask have an amazing app now for Android and iOS, where you you don't have to use the desktop anymore. You can just use the app, get an ETH wallet, use Uniswap in the app, and if you use the 1 inch list on Uniswap, they have the HEX token already, so that's cool. Like the only thing that's kind of that would be a little bit nicer would be a little bit less gas fees. Ethereum, it sometimes costs $30 for a transaction, which is kind of making so the small guys can't really afford HEX. Because I remember in March, I kind of paid. How much did I pay for a transaction? Like 1 cent or 3 cents. If I really wanted it fast, it was like 5 cents or maybe 8 cents. That was like really edgy. But now it's like $10 or $15. And I don't want to do a transaction like if it's like $30 because it's so much. Especially if you were trying to buy, you can't, because you can't buy then HEX with like small amounts of money. Even if you just have $100, like it's pretty expensive to pay like $30 gas fee. So yeah, I would say HEX is the new Twin Towers. It's like the best store of value that I can see, and I looked at everything else on the market, and I don't see anything to be better. And I don't think all of these other crypto communities are honest with what they're talking about. Like they're not honest with themselves. Like they're not honest at all how amazing HEX is, and I don't even think most people have even tried it. And that's kind of annoying. So they don't even know what they're missing out on. Maybe they're gonna learn 2021, 2022, 2023. Who knows? They probably will learn because this DeFi nonsense. It's almost it's kind of worse than like 2017 because 2017 at least you had like white papers, but now you don't even have white papers. Now it's like these horrible coins. They're like way worse than HEX, and it's just like a disaster. And I'm very disappointed with the crypto YouTube influencers. They're like ignoring HEX. I'm very disappointed with CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko also, and Cointelegraph, how hostile they have been against HEX this year. They should really be ashamed of themselves because they're not doing right behavior. Gatekeeping, censoring, lying. Cointelegraph have still articles up where they're lying straight up about HEX. They have one from February when they're talking about HEX's promises, which is straight up false. And they haven't even corrected it, even like when they know they've been doing wrongs. Big shout out to Nomics for actually properly listing HEX. They should still fix Bitcoin, like they should fix to a proper market cap of that because they're still, we know 4 million Bitcoins are lost. So you shouldn't really even count those coins. Yeah, so that's what I want to talk a little bit about today. Have a great day, DTube and Hexicans. Bye bye.